welcome to American Literature 1. I'm Professor Coomer. These are the books that you will need for this class. These books are at the bookstore, and I also believe in the syllabus I do provide the ISBN number and the name of the book. So if you can get them for cheaper elsewhere, you know, I'm not going to tell anybody about it. That's totally fine. Yes, they're enormous books. And yes, isn't it great that you don't have to lug them to my classroom? So there's that. The Norton anthologies for English majors is like a rite of passage, and they're just giant books. And the thing is, this is only the first half of American literature. The second half of American literature, you might buy it all in just one giant, anthology. But they stopped making the book that we had last year. So Mary Beth, I'm sorry. That I know, it's not fair.
Okay, when I went to the bookstore, they gave me the book from Lit 2.
From last year?
I have it in front of me. Yeah, it's right in front of me.
I believe
it. It's like,
yeah,
it's totally destroyed.
And that's what Blue has. And that's okay. Anybody else have that book, or did you get this? Okay,
Felipe? I got that book. This book instead of that one.
So you got that book. Ashley, Devin, Kinsey, do you guys have these?
I was waiting until I knew what books I needed to get them.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have either book yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't either.
You're still waiting, or?
Mm-hmm.
You're still waiting too? Okay. Okay, well, so here's the cool thing. We have a nice small class, and American literature, part of the thing about literature is that it really shouldn't be a pain to be in a literature class. So, yeah, I'm sorry, there is going to be a little pain, I guess. I spoke too soon. You do need this book. So if you can take it back and grab these books, that is awesome. And guys, let me know this week if you can get the right books. And if for some reason there's a delay or something, we did have to change the book last minute. All summer long, I woke up every morning very happy because I was like, well, I guess I'm already planned for my American literature class. And then they changed the book on me. And so, it's not something I'm incredibly happy about, but hey, it is what it is. So this book these books are what we're going to be using. Now, I will say this, guys, the vast majority of the readings can be found in the old book. So if you're just flat broke, or if you are unable, if they don't have these, it's not hard to find all the readings that we're going to do in the older book. I think there's going to be some that's slightly different. Like the Native American stuff is going to be different. I really loved the stuff they had in the old book, and the Native American stuff in the new book is fine, but it is all different. So this week I'm going to have you read the Native American literature, and so that stuff is different. However, if you're in a bind and you just can't get the book by the end of this week, look it up on the internet, because all of this stuff, all of these people are dead. They're not getting any royalties anymore, and basically it's all very available on the internet. So technically you could probably find a lot of this stuff. It's really nice to have a textbook so that you can follow along, so that we can read together and things like that. But if you are in a bind, just know the most important thing is that you're actually doing the reading. And then if you are having to look at something on the internet, make sure to check in with somebody else in this class, or check in with me to make sure you're reading the right thing. The problem with getting it off the internet, later on, there will be some things that are excerpts from larger works. So you won't know what page to read. You won't know the little section to read unless you just have the textbook. Like, I can't think of anything right off the top of my head, but I know there's sections where I think, especially with Ben Franklin, we read a portion of different books that he wrote, and so there's that. So definitely try to get these books. I apologize for the confusion. It's crazy on me too, but these are the textbooks for the class. let's take a quick look. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, and you can just see how crazy my screen looks. Look how crazy that looks. Just all kinds of craziness. I'm making videos for my Comp 1 class, and I'm doing all kinds of crazy stuff over here. It's a whole day of Zoom. I've never done this before. I've always I've wondered about how this was going to feel. So far, so good. But hey, this is my third class out of 5 today, so only 2 more to go. So if you go to Blackboard, you go to American Literature 1, you click there, and the thing I want to definitely show you guys is the syllabus/schedule. So if you click on the syllabus/schedule, you can download that. I recommend printing it out just so you can kind of have something to go by. Normally, this is where I tell students that students who print things out tend to do better in school, which is I mean, that's a fact, but hey, everything's changed these days. So just at least be able to find the syllabus at will. I am Professor Jesse Coomer. This phone number that is there, it goes to my office, but guess where I'm not right now? I am not in my office. So if you need to get a hold of me, the best possible way to do that is through email, and that's jcoomer@venue.edu. I am going to be trying to sign up for, the university they're giving me this messaging software that I might be able to set up so that you can get a hold of me like instant message anytime. And that's possibly going to happen. And then I may also set up a WhatsApp, if you know about that, if you've ever used that. I likely will not do any of those things though. It's possible, but it's likely that we're stuck with email. So if you need email, if you need to get a hold of me, email is for sure. I'll be checking it multiple times throughout the day. And then also I do have office hours, even though I don't have a physical office now, from 8 to 9 a.m. and from 1 to 2 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So 8 to 9 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 to 2 on Tuesday, Thursday. Those are the times I'm going to be in, I'll be available. But since I don't have an office, you can just kind of knock on the door. You do need to make an appointment with me. So just email me and say, first of all, if it's worst case scenario, you can email me during these hours. And most of the time, if I'm not with somebody else, I'll see the email and I'll send you a quick Zoom invite and we can start a Zoom. But if you can, send me an email well in advance so I can mark off the time for you. Like I said, I have 5 classes worth of people, and then I have 2 online, and I do a lot of other stuff. So it is better if we can organize our time. So if you need to talk to me, try to talk to me, try to send me a message in advance so that we can get that scheduled. That way we're for sure going to have that meeting that day. All right, having said that, let's just kind of move along. We're going to talk about literature in this class. It's American literature. And let me tell you this, as you scroll here, I give you some of the periods of American literature. And, you know, if you just think about all of the music that came out in your lifetime, right? And just think if you were to really deep dive and dissect every great artist, and not just one genre, not the ones that you like, but all of the genres, just in the, you know, maybe 18 to 25 years you've been alive, that you could do a whole 16 weeks, probably longer, on just the musicians in your lifetime. Well, we're trying to cover all of American literature from the pre-colonies all the way to the Civil War in just 16 weeks. So I just want to say right off the top, there's no way we can possibly accomplish that in its entirety. So there's no way I can cover every single great author. As great as they were, I do have to kind of pick and choose just certain authors that we're going to cover. That is not to say that I think anything less of the authors we're not covering, or necessarily think anything more of the authors that we are covering. I'm just having to cover some of the things that are kind of the standards, some things that I know that you're going to need to know. If someone says you took American literature, early American literature, some of the main names, I want to make sure that you can say, well, of course I've read, Ben Franklin, and I've read Thomas Paine, and I've read, Irving and Coleman, and all, there's some names that you do need to make sure you've read. The other ones, you do need to make sure you've read those as well. It's just that we can only cover so much. So if I'm not covering your favorite artist or your favorite author in this first section, I apologize. There is a time that I will let you do a report because everybody's going to have to cover 2 authors and do a report over 2 authors from this time period. If you have a favorite author that we're not covering in class that you'd still like to write your essay about, I'll let you do that. Again, it's always a big shame that I can't cover every single person, but I have to cover certain people just as the class works. So I at least cover those guys. So when you come down to the syllabus, this is the new course text. The ISBN number is there, so you can, if you want to give your ISBN number to the librarian, that's fine. Or you can say, I'm looking for the Norton Anthology of American Literature. Again, I really do apologize for using a different textbook. I liked the old textbook, but I was informed last month that we needed to change textbooks. So hey, that's what we're doing. So we're doing the Norton Anthology. Okay, so there's no CD-ROM or anything like that. Instructional methodologies. Let me just give you an idea of what we're going to do. Each week, we're going to have one check-in. And it might be on Monday, but it might also, well, I'm going to try to shoot for Fridays. But Mondays are, I don't know, typically Mondays are good for most people. I know it's not good for every single person. If you can't make it to every single class meeting, I am going to record all of these and I'll upload the video so you can maintain, you can stay abreast of where we are. But once a week, I will check in with you and I'll give you an idea of, hey, this is what we're going to be working on this week. These are some of the things I want you to read. These are the things to focus on. And if I had it my way, I would talk your head off about all of the literature we're covering. And it's just kind of where we are. We can't necessarily do that all the time, but I'm at least going to be checking in with you once a week. And then I'll show you where you're going to hand in things here in just a minute in our Blackboard. So the points you're going to get for this course, you will do 2 author reports. Each of them is worth 10% of your grade. So everything you do in this class is pretty heavy weighted. So these author reports, you need to do 2 of them before the end of the semester. And this is basically, I'm going to let you choose when you want to do them. You can do them both early on. What most people do is they try to do one before midterm, and then they try to do one after midterm. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter when you do it, as long as you do both of them before the end of the semester. Now, if you take a look at that, it says WR and S. Okay, so the WR means written. So you're going to have to write an essay, and I'll have the essay assignment sheet on our Blackboard. But the S means speaking. So this class fulfills 2 things. It fulfills reading and writing, and it also fulfills a spoken or a speaking credit that you need to have for your major. So there will be, now I guess if you don't like standing up in front of people, this is a great semester for you. In this case, all I'm going to ask you to do is record yourself doing somewhere between a 5 and 10 minute presentation over the report that you wrote. So you got to write a report and you have to do a 5 to 10 minute speaking presentation about this particular author that you just wrote the report on. Usually they're really easy. And I recommend, if you don't already have a YouTube account, go ahead and open up a YouTube account. It's really simple to do. You can upload your video to that. You can make it public if you want and maybe get a viral video if you want. But the other way is you can also make it unlisted and you can send it to me, or you can make it public, send it to me, and I'll tell you whenever you get your grade, you can just delete it, however you want to do that. But basically, I do need to make sure that we have a speaking intensive part to this class. There will be a literary essay at the end of the semester. It's just a written literary essay. And basically what this does, it's going to, as we go forward, I want you to really think about what the point of reading literature, especially older literature, why would that apply to this modern age? How does something from the 18th and the 19th century apply to us here in the 21st century? So I want you to think about that. This is stuff that we have over 100 years apart from now and then. Why does it apply? What is it that we can still learn from reading these older authors? What can we get out of it? I want you to think about that. And you're going to be writing an essay essentially about that. You're also going to have a midterm and a final exam. And the ways these will work is during midterms, I'll give you your midterm. It'll be like a multiple choice via Blackboard, and then there'll be some essay questions. And that's how it's going to be for the final exam and for the midterm. Then discussion, participation, and attendance. Now you'll notice that's all spoken, that's all speaking. And the way this is going to work is I'm not going to require you to, it would be awesome if we could do group discussions on a regular basis, but I know that because of the way this classroom is going to work, it will be kind of difficult to make good discussions happen. So what I'm going to ask you to do is for every single week, you're going to need to write about the readings that you did that week, or you could make a video where you discuss it verbally, upload it to YouTube, send me that video. Either one will work. And as long as you do that every week, you're going to get all those points. And in addition to that, that's also going to be the vast majority of the short writings and in-class quizzes. So the vast majority of this is going to be your choice. You could do it all written. You could do it all video. You could do some video. You could do some written, however you want to do it. Just because of the way things are this year, I want to make sure you're definitely reading. Now, as the semester goes by, I will ask for more written things because I'm going to ask you to learn how to explicate literature. Early on, and that's going to be something I teach you to do in a Zoom call, how to explicate. And basically, simply put, explication is explanation. I'm going to explain what the author was trying to say, or I'm going to explain some aspect of this piece of literature and how it applies to this particular point of view, or how it applied within its context. So that's how you're going to get your grade. And really, the vast majority, the hardest part of your grade is this top part, those top three things. The bottom three things, so you got, what is that? 40% of your grade, that as long as you're sticking with me every week and you're doing your writings and you're reading your readings and all that stuff, about 40% of your grade should be a slam dunk, easy A. The rest of it, it does depend on how well you understand the material, okay? So of course, since we're using the internet, I can't keep you from looking up facts. And I love it when people research facts about the literature. See what somebody else has said about it. See what it's supposed to mean via somebody else's writing. That's all okay to do. It's not like you only have to just read this book and hear my voice, and that's how you have to learn. I want you to just be curious, and really that's the best teacher. So just be curious. So attendance is a strange, of course, it's different. So when it comes to attendance, all I expect is that you keep up with your homework, okay? I would love to see you guys on these calls, and believe me, if no one shows up, I might get a little, a little grumpy, and I might start requiring them. But right now, I understand if you can't make every single one of them, but please try to make, if I send you an invite, please try to make it. It'll always be during one of the class period times. So it's always going to be at noon on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. Most of the time, I'm going to stick to Mondays, okay? And I understand some of you guys have overlapping classes and things going on. But just try to keep up, especially keep up with your homework. As long as you're doing that, I know you still exist, and that, you didn't get ran over by a train or something like that. So that's, that's good. Academic honesty, of course, we want to make sure that we're learning. We don't, and obviously cheating, whenever you cheat yourself of the education that you're paying for and that you're putting all this time and effort into. Also, Anything that you hand in to me that is not original work, it will be very obvious, because the software that I have access to, whenever you hand in this work, I can run it through the software and it'll tell me. And I have found things, it's shown me from like Reddit subreddits, it'll be a little subreddit, and somehow somebody copied from that. So just make the decision today. Hey, you know what? I'm going to do the readings. I'm going to do the writings. Yes, the reading is the thing that is time intensive. So I do understand that. I understand what I'm loading you up with each week. And believe me, I'm going pretty easy on you guys. All right. So make sure to do all the readings and really try to think about what it is you're reading as you go about it. Don't cheat. If you cheat, it sucks, ruins your day, ruins my day. I have to give you a 0 on the assignment and turn you into the dean of students, and just don't cheat. The disability statement, if this applies to you, I'd like you to all just read this yourself. If it does apply to you, please call the number provided, and they will give you information on how to report back to me as far as your accommodations. I am unable to provide you with any accommodations unless it comes through our disabilities office. So make sure, if that applies to you, make sure that they'll give you, they'll let you know how to inform me. All right, let's see here. Okay, so if you scroll down, this is, as of right now, this is our schedule of readings. Okay, if you just kind of want to scroll around. And I can tell you right now, I don't know why. I thought I deleted. We are not going to have any unit tests. So if you see all these where it says Unit 1, Unit 2, we will not be having any unit tests. It's all going to be, you're going to be having the in-class writings, or not in class, but you're going to have the writings, the weekly writings, or the YouTube videos where you explain and you go into depth. Now, just because you're giving me a YouTube video, or just because you're giving me some explanation, does not mean you're going to get an A on that. Okay, so I want you to really think about things, and I want you to always think about this. How did this literature, how do you think it was received at the time? Because you got to remember, these people were not writing to you. They were not writing to me. They were writing to people in their time, okay? They were writing to people who had beliefs and had experiences that are unlike our own, especially in American Literature 1, because, I mean, there's no one in American Literature 1 who knew what electricity was, or all these things that we have in our modern day, they didn't have. However, one thing that you can find in all of literature is the human condition. So the human condition is what binds all of us to every other human that's ever lived and that will ever live. The fact that we are all human, we have internal desires, we have emotions, and we're pushed and moved by these emotions. We have all kinds of things that make us human, and that is the thing that you should be able to speak to in every single reading, okay? So I want you, whenever you're doing your weekly writings, when you're doing your readings, essentially what you're going to be doing is you're going to prove to me, first of all, it is kind of like, okay, you're proving to me that you did the reading, okay? Maybe you'll have a paragraph where you talk about, basically you summarize what you read. And then maybe the rest of the page or two, how much ever you're going to write, that will be dedicated to what you think the author was trying to say, how you think this was received. Maybe you did some research on the internet and there's some interesting things that you'd like to bring up. The rest of it will be about the literature itself. It can be a close reading. So if you're doing a close reading of literature, you might be taking certain lines out of the story or the poem and talking about its meaning and trying to dissect what it means. So I want you to really, again, we're not doing unit tests. We're not doing a lot of things that we normally would do. But what we're trying to do is really focus on what is it that this author is trying to say? How is it that this author is communicating, as we go forward? Okay, so having said that, as you look down, there's going to be part of it where I say book 2, right? So some of the things are in book 1, some of the things are in book 2. It is pretty chronological, but there's also things that I skip ahead or I'll go back in time. But we got 16 weeks, people. All right, we're in our first week now. So week number 1, I want you to, first of all, buy the correct book if you haven't already done so, and take a look at, they have the timeline on page 26. And then there's 3 Native American pieces of literature we're going to begin the semester with. And the first one, it just talks about Native American oral literature, okay? And it talks about this basically because, okay, we've got to talk about these things, and why is that we don't have it more written down? Well, there's a reason for that. And we're going to talk more about it Monday when we cover all these things. So each Monday, we'll cover the things that I assigned the previous Monday, okay? So next Monday, we're going to talk about the Native American literature, and then I'll assign all of this other stuff, the Puritans and the colonies. So John Smith, John Winthrop, and Bradstreet, I'll assign that Monday. And so every Monday, we're going to talk about literature a little bit. I'll give you a little bit of, I'll try not to lecture you on and on and on, but I'll give you some information. We'll talk about it a little bit. And then each week we'll move on that way. If you would like, I'll extend this to you. If you would like to wait until we finish talking about the literature before you do your weekly reading or your weekly writing project, I'm not going to count it late as long as you get it to me on Monday by midnight, okay? So this is a Monday class, kind of, but it's something I want you to work on all week long. Okay, so having said that, I'm going to switch over to my Blackboard. Can you guys see that Blackboard, that I'm on Blackboard now? Awesome. Okay. So this is American literature. Okay, I'm going to go to content. This is the content portion is where pretty much the whole class is. So great. Week 1, take a look here. Week 1, here are the reading assignments. Awesome. If I click into that, if I click into week 1, I also have an enormous amount of videos I want you to watch this week. Okay. And this is not going to take you that long, but as we are reading the Native American literature, I also want to prepare you for this crazy experiment that is the United States, okay? Because as the United States was beginning, there's a lot of history that you need to understand to really understand kind of what we would consider the Age of Enlightenment and the philosophy that the people the Europeans who were coming over, kind of what was pushing them, what was the mindset, what was the social and intellectual context that we find ourselves nested in. So I start you way back in the age of Rome, and you're like, geez, Professor Coomer, that's a long way away from, that's like, 500 BC, to what, like 600 AD in the West. That's a long time before the American Revolution. Well, yeah, it is. But the reason why a lot of the things that were going on when it came to the founding of the United States, they were all started back in ancient Rome. And so just watch these videos. They don't take too long. This ancient Rome in 20 minutes, yeah, it's a 20-minute. That's the longest one. The rest of them are pretty short. But this will give you kind of a primer for getting ready for American literature. Okay, let's see here. I don't know why that's there. Okay, I'm going to delete that. All right. So let's see. What am I doing here? I even have more videos, but you don't have to watch those. Just the main videos. So then I've got week 1, writing or video. So after you've done all your readings, I want you to do some writing and some reflection, or some reflection in a video about it. And this is just, you'll hand it in here. 20 points possible for the very first one. And if it is a video, just in the comments, give me the URL. okay? Or you can always do under write submission, give me the URL there. So that you know what I mean. Do you guys know what I mean when I say URL? The little thing in the top box. So share the YouTube video with me in that box. That way I can go to your YouTube video, okay? And again, if it's a YouTube video, make sure it's a 5 to 10 minute talk. If it is a written thing, I'm looking for around a page, you know, somewhere around there, of just standard 12-point font. You know, if you give me a little bit more than that, that's awesome. Just try not to give me much less than a page whenever you're doing this. I want to make sure we're trying to prove that we read it, and then show me that you're thinking about it. Show me that you're a thinking person, and that you're at least trying to grapple and wrestle with the issues that are being brought up. How do you think this piece of literature was taken by the people, the contemporaries? What do you think the purpose of it is? What do you think the meaning of it is? That sort of thing is what I want you to tell me about. So each week we're going to do this. And as you can see, each week I got these sort of things each week. Week 1 is the only week when I have a ton of videos. I have a few videos here and there just to kind of give you an idea of where we are philosophically, because the philosophy of the time dictates a lot when it comes to the writing of the time and the way people are thinking. And it's important to understand the philosophical context that this literature is nested in. Not to mention, it helps you with your writing. It helps you whenever you explicate. How do you think these people were taking it? Well, if they're thinking about these things, well, then they're probably going to take it this way or that way. Okay. So we have 16 weeks worth of it. All right. And then basically on week, let's see, I believe it's week 8, I'm going to give you a midterm, and then I'll give you your final on week 16. And that's pretty much, that's the class. That's what we're looking at doing this semester. Your author reports you can do anytime, and it's just a 2 to 4 page essay. And I give you the assignment right here. Over the course of the semester, you should choose 2 authors to write a 2 to 4 page essay over. Your essay should discuss the author's life, the pervasive philosophy of his or her time, and how his or her work reflects or does not reflect the dominant philosophy of the time in which it was written. You should also, you will also be required to do a short presentation for the class. Well, lucky for you, all you need to do is the author report, and then send me the YouTube video of your presentation, and we'll call it good. Any questions on anything I've just said? I know I just threw a bunch of stuff at you. Any questions? All right. So having said that, let's see here. Okay, so we've determined that we're going to peer pressure people into being English majors. We've got, I'm going to try to get you guys something cool for the English majors committee. Let's see here. Mary Beth, are you still working at Applebee's?
Yes, I am. I work Monday through Thursday nights.
All right, right. Well, yeah, I got to know where to get my wings. So
I'm serving now.
Oh, you're serving? Oh, wow.
Yeah, you got to come inside now.
Oh, I got to come inside. Oh, okay. So I was just going to say, I can get some pretty good chicken wings there. So anyway, anybody else? Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now. I think if I can do that. Let's see here. Stop recording. Anything anybody else wants to share, or anybody else? Does anybody else work in a place where I can come and eat?
I work at McAllister's.
McAllister's. Now, see, I have not yet been to McAllister's, even though I live in this town. And so, okay. So